Hello, this is Sharon. Today we're going to talk about how to access observations with index. Let's look at the index overview. An index can help you quickly locate one or more observations that you want to read. Index provide direct access to observations in SAS datasets based on values of one or more key variables. Without an index, SAS access observations sequentially in the order in which they are stored in the dataset. You can create two types of index. A simple index consists of the value of one key variable, and which can be character or numeric. When you create a simple index, SAS names the index after the key variable. You also can create a composite index. It consists of value of multiple key variables, which can be character, numeric, or combination. The value of these key variables are concatenated to form a single value. When you create a composite index, you must specify a unique index name that is not the name of any existing variable or index in the dataset. Let's look at how to create index in the data step. To create an index at the same time that you create a dataset, you need to use the index equal dataset option in the data statement. This is the general form. Start with data and then followed by SAS data file name, and in parentheses there is index equal index specification 1 and 2n, and also there's option unique. Let's look at detailed information about this statement. The SAS data file name is a valid SAS dataset name, and the index specification listed here for a simple index is the name of the key variable, and for a composite index is index name equals variable 1 to variable n, and the unique specifies that values for the key variable must be unique for each observation. If having duplicate values for the key variables, then log shows error message and the index will not be created. And you can create multiple indexes on a single SAS dataset. However, creating and storing indexes does use system resources. You need to create indexes only on variables that are commonly used to select observations. And one more important message. When you create or use index, probably you want to verify that it has been created or used correctly. So to display information in the SAS log concerning index creation or index usage, we can set the value of MSG level equals system option to I. This is the general form for this system option. And when MSG level equals n, it prints notes, warnings, error messages only, and this is the default. And for I, when MSG level equals I, it prints additional notes or information messages pertaining to index usage and merge processing and sort utilities along with standard notes, warnings, and error messages. All right, there are a lot of knowledge points for this lecture. Now let's move to the program part. First, we want to include this system option and set MSG level equals I, so we can get messages on index creating and usage. And also we want to use dataset stored in permanent library score. That's why we include this lab name statement here. And library score is in this location. And first, let's look at this first data step statement. In this data step statement, the input data set I want to use is score dot score underscore data. There is score underscore data in the library score. This is the data set we want to use. And then the output data set we want to create from this data step program is SD1. And also we want to create 2 simple indexes in SD1 data set. So in parentheses, index equal, and parentheses, and the first index is stu ID. This index contains the unique value of the stu ID variable, because after stu ID I include unique option. That means I want this index contains unique values of the stu ID variable. And then for the second index is name, which contains the values of the name variable. So those 2 simple indexes will be created in dataset SD1. Okay, so let's run the program. This is SD1 dataset. Let's go to log window. From log window, we can see there were 11 observations read from dataset score underscore data. And also SD1 is created, has 11 observations and 6 variables. And also we have 2 nodes on index information. So simple index name has been defined and simple index stu ID has been defined. All right, that means those 2 indexes are successfully created. And then I want to use one of the index stu ID to print out 2 observations. Stu ID equals 3 and also stu ID equals 7. So let's run this proc print procedure. In this way, when we use the stu ID index instead of stu ID variable, then SAS will directly pick the observation with stu ID equals 3 and stu ID equals 7 instead of processing it sequentially. That is an efficient way of doing that. So let's run this proc print procedure. This is the output for the proc print procedure, and let's look at the log. So we can see from here there is an info printed out in the log. Index stu ID selected for where clause optimization. That means here this stu ID is used index stu ID instead of variable stu ID. All right. Next, let's look at another example of creating a composite index. In this data step, again, the input data set is score underscore data, and then the output data set is SD1. In this data step, there is a composite index created with index equal option. Index equals parenthesis SID underscore name. This is the composite index we want to create in this SD2 data set. This composite index equals parenthesis stu ID and name. So this means this index contains concatenated values of stu ID variable and the name variable. Okay, let's run this. Again, this is the SD2 data set created. And let's look at the log. So from here, we can see the composite index SID underscore name has been defined. That means this index is successfully created. All right. This is it for this lecture. In this lecture, we talk about some knowledge information on index and the types of index, and also how to create index in data step. All right. Thank you for watching. See you next time.